Hi everyone. In this demonstration, I am going to show you video capture powered by GoReact, and in particular, I'll be using The Art of Public Speaking by Stephen Lucas in the 13th edition. If you have questions about video capture and which textbooks it's aligned with, please check with your sales representative. So once you are in Connect in your Instructor account, you will go to the Add Assignment button and look for video capture. So video capture replaced what was previously called speech capture in here. So once you click that, that will take you to the first of 3 screens. And these 3 screens that you're about to see are all you need to go through to set up an assignment. You can choose from a new assignment that you can create from scratch, or you can copy one from a previous course if you set up one previously in Connect. I'm going to create one from scratch. Most of the time you're going to select standard, and this is basically what most online instructors would probably use, or even in an in-person class. This would be an assignment where the student records the speech with a live audience and scans the speech audience before, during, or after and uploads it. This is also the option you select if you want to do the live event, where students will log in at the same time and watch each other virtually but live. You can also use this for an in-person class if you want students to present live in person and you want to use the grading feature on your computer. Stimulus and comment only are mostly related to videos you might upload as an instructor, and then students can respond with a prompt either via a video of themselves or some sort of response on a rubric or comments and markers. So we're going to select standard for now and click next, and this takes us to the second screen. And this is where majority of your setup will be housed. So it is from top to bottom now, so it's a little bit different if you've looked at GoReact previously, but it's a little bit more user-friendly. So at the top, you have your assignment type, so you could switch if you accidentally selected the wrong one. The next option is your peer and self-review, essentially. So you have 3 options. You could do private, where it restricts any sort of reviews from anybody but the instructor. You could do a closed peer review or an open peer review. And the difference being with a closed peer review, only the instructor and the student submitting can see the comments. With an open peer review, everybody can see everything. So make sure you select whatever you want based on whatever your requirements are for your assignment. So I will select closed peer review. Next, you need to decide your point value and your grading. So you have the option of just putting in points. So if you want to just put in no grading or no rubric and just put in flat out points, you can do that. But a majority of people will use an instructor rubric. So you will select that, and then you will choose from a rubric. Now, unless you have previously used the system, you probably will not have a rubric, and you will need to select new rubrics. But once you select rubrics, it will save them in your library here, and it will copy over for the future anytime that you make a speech assignment in the future. So you're going to see that I have several in here, and there's also some under the McGraw-Hill speech tools that you could use if you wanted to start with one of those. But you could select from scratch or use one that's existing. So I'm going to go into one that's existing and go into the edit mode just to show you what a rubric setup would look like. But essentially, you can choose any of these items on the left, and you can simply drag and drop over. It's that simple. And if you already have a rubric in place, you can copy it, make changes, and save it under a new name. That way you don't have to create them from scratch on a continual basis. But you can see here I have mine with a 5-point Likert scale, and I have different titles in here with room for comments. And at the top, it will show you how many points the rubric adds up to. You can also preview the rubric so you can see what it would look like from the student's point of view. So you can go through here and adjust this to anything you want. And then once you're certain that you have it how you want, you just simply choose the rubric and simply select OK, and that will be attached to your assignment. Down below, there's a few items you can select. So you do have the option for multiple cameras. This is only available with the non-live event right now. But essentially, if you wanted to assign a group speech, you could enable this, and it would allow you to see multiple cameras from different students presenting on the same speech. You'll notice if you select any of these, it will gray out any other areas that do not work or are not compatible with it. Do you notice when I select multiple cameras, it grays out the rest of these options here. You also have live review, which is essentially what live event was. This is where students will log in at the same time on a given day and time of your choice, or you can stick students in groups and have them log in at various times, and they can present to each other live but virtually. So this might work well for an online course. You can also use this in an in-person course. If you want to do a live speech in an in-person class, but use GoReact for grading purposes. Students can do peer critique, and you as an instructor can grade live while the student is presenting in front of you. Single recording attempt or test would restrict to just one speech submission. I don't recommend using that unless you want students emailing you to reset. Occasionally, if they make a mistake, they need to upload a different file or start over. This would prevent that. Time limit prevents students from going over a certain time that you select. So if it's a 5 to 7 minute speech and you don't want them to go over 10 minutes, you can put that in, and the recording function will not allow them to go beyond that. And then also you can allow them to upload a slide deck. Note when they upload the slide deck, they do have to convert it to a PDF document, and instructions for that are provided in the system on that screen. And then down below, we have 5 more options to choose from. So we have markers, and markers, when you select on that, you can create a new marker set, or you can work with an existing one. You can see I have one that's existing, and these are little buttons you can push that represent commonly used pieces of feedback that you might put while grading. So if I go into edit, you can see I have several related to delivery, but you can add and subtract these based on your preference. You can take them out by clicking on the X, or you can add them in based on your preference. And these will appear on the grading screen from both the instructor and the peer and self-reviews. That way students can use them as well as you. And once you have the what you want, you just click OK, and that will appear in the grading screen. Next, you have the option to put a student rubric in. I personally don't do that. I just have students leave comments and use the markers. But if you want students to fill out a rubric as well, you would select the rubric that you want them to use and attach that. And then instructor attachment would be if you want to put a file in, or an assignment sheet, a sample outline, a sample speech, could be a video, audio, something from YouTube. You have many options there. And then your last 2 are for you to put your instructions for the assignment. So you would put in instructions, you can type them in, or you can record a video of yourself. But the recording instructions would be whatever your assignment details are. You might cut and paste some information from your assignment sheet or give some specifics about what you're looking for. And then under feedback, this would be where you could put in any information for students about how to complete their self and peer review. So what your requirements are as far as comments, markers, substance, whatever it is that you have. And once you have all this set up and you're satisfied with it, you click Done. And now you're on the last screen where you will give your assignment a name, create a start date, pick a date here, and then a due date, as well as the points. And the points should equal whatever your rubric is set to. Also, keep in mind when you're putting in a due date, the due date should be the last date in a series of due dates. So if you have a speech due date on Friday, but they have to complete their peer and self-reviews by Sunday, you want to put in the last due date. So I would put in Sunday here. So just keep in mind you can only put in one due date, and that should be the last in whatever series of due dates you have. And then you will just need to make clear to students that other things may be due earlier. So I might put in here speech due Friday, reviews due Sunday, and then that way when they see the speech assignment title in your learning management system, they'll know. And you can also make this clear to them through either telling them in person or an email or posting an announcement. But if you do have multiple due dates for these components, make sure you make that clear to students, but the last one is what should be put in the due date column. And then you click Assignment. And then now your assignment will appear at the bottom of your Connect shell, and you can drag and drop it however you want on the screen here. And you can also sync this with whatever learning management system you have, so students would access it directly through that, whether it be Canvas, Blackboard, or whatever you have. Now, that's how you set up an assignment. When you're ready to grade a speech, you will go into Connect, you will look for your assignment, and then it's going to tell you how many students are in progress, how many haven't started, and how many have completed. Keeping in mind I only have one sample student in here, so that's why it just shows the one. Also note, students will show in progress until the due date passes. So if you grade a student and they still show in progress, don't panic. It won't change over to completed until after the due date. But to grade the submissions, you can click this button here, grade. If you need to make edits to the assignment, you can click the edit button, but keep in mind that you cannot make any changes except to due dates once students have started submitting. So when you click Grade Student Submissions, this is the portal that you will get. And up at top, you'll see that it basically shows all of the components of the assignment. So closed peer review, the instructions, students can see the recording, the feedback, they could preview the rubric. Off to the right, it shows all of the things that you set up. And then also you do have the option to hide comments. So you'll see there, it says show feedback and grades. If you don't want students to see your feedback and your grades until maybe after you're done with everybody, you can just toggle that off. But make sure you go back and toggle that back on when you are ready to show that, as students will be asking you. And you also want to make sure that you're not doing that back and forth. You either pick one or the other. All right, and then when you're ready to grade speeches, they will all appear under the graded column here. Excuse me, the ungraded column, and then once you grade them, they'll move over to the graded column. And if for some reason you have a student who has issues and maybe they email you their speech, you can also upload it for them directly right here under Start Assignment on your end. But essentially, when you create an assignment and it's ready to be graded, you will go in and click the video, and this is what the portal will look like. So you'll basically get the instructions that pop up. And then on the left, you'll see if somebody has, I just uploaded a random document here, but if you have a document to upload, it's off to the left there, and then you'll see the speech recording on the right. You can put your comments in down at the bottom, and they are time-stamped. You can also hit your markers, and you'll notice as the recording is going, if you start to type a comment, it will automatically stop the video, and when you click enter, it restarts. And it will put all of the comments top to bottom and time-stamped over here on the right. And when students do their self and peer review, it will embed those as well in the same list. Also, show feedback graphs down here. You'll see it will allow students to look and see where a lot of their feedback is coming in if they'd rather look at it in a graph form. And then you also, in addition to text, can leave a video or audio feedback, as well as upload documents or link to YouTube videos as well. Now, once you're ready to grade the student with a rubric, you click the rubric tab. You'll go in and select whatever grade, go through the entire rubric. Once it's how you want it, you click Post Rubric. And then when you click back, you'll notice how they're now moved to the graded column. Now, keep in mind, you'll see when you click under graded, it'll show you the student's grade. It'll show you comments from others and your comments. Then you also have the ability to edit or delete. The grade that you put in for the student will not be sent over to your learning management system until after the due date. So if you grade a speech before the due date, don't panic if the grade is not immediately sent over. Two other things before we're finished. If you go to the upper right, this is where you can edit the assignment from this view. And then you also have the option to view a report where it will show you the students, how many they've critiqued, how many they've submitted, comments, etc. This is what I would use to determine their self and peer review grade, to see how many speeches they've submitted and commented on. You can also go through your list of student speeches here and go over and click into the video and scan down, and you'll be able to see anybody who's commented and what their comments are. So you can make that determination or use that to determine their self and peer review grade if you choose to do that. Keep in mind when you are setting up these assignments, you cannot put students in groups in Connect. You will have to manually do that and communicate to them separately who they need to critique. And then when you're finished at any given time, you can click Save and Exit, and it will take you back to the main screen. So this is a demonstration of the video capture powered by GoReact. If you are interested in seeing a demo of the live event or something more specific, please contact your sales representative, and we'd be happy to coordinate a demo of that. For purposes of today, we just demonstrated the standard assignment.